everyone and welcome to Intellipaat, the on-demand pay-as-you-go delivery of IT services or resources through the internet is known as cloud computing. You can use technological services from a cloud provider on an as-needed basis to access computing power, storage, and databases instead of purchasing, owning, and maintaining physical data centers and servers. Cloud computing is one of the industries with the highest growth right now. With up to 90% of firms worldwide selecting cloud services, the majority of organizations have boosted their spending on cloud services to more than 33%. This indicates that there is a rising need for cloud computing specialists. Now, there are multiple high paying job roles for a cloud computing professional like cloud administrator, cloud security analyst, cloud network engineer, cloud automation engineer, cloud consultant, and cloud software engineer. Now, let's take a look at the agenda. Firstly, we have an introduction to cloud computing, after which we will see the working structure of cloud computing, and then we have creating EC2 instances, then we'll see the introduction to VM, after which we have deployment of web app using EC2 instances. Then we have introduction to load balancer, after which we will see the launching and changing the protocol in AWS. Then we have delivery model of cloud, and lastly we have elastic IP.
So, for example, let's say if you are going to work in any of the software industry, so let's say sometimes we are like engineers and we have some software, okay? Or because you guys are from networking background also, so you have some network protocol or configuration, okay? Or maybe you need some server. So technically, whenever you want to run software or network protocols or some server, what you need resources. Resources like what? You need maybe virtual machine, if you know. You need maybe routers, you need switches, and many other devices. Or if you are using server or you want to host your website, so for example in server you can deploy or host your applications, okay? So ultimately wherever you think, you being an engineer, that you want to install and use some software, you want to set up some network protocol, or maybe you need server so that you can deploy or you can host some application, maybe website, maybe a database, anything, right? So to do any operation, what you need resource. When I say resource, it's a kind of a system where in this system we need RAM, we need CPU, or we need kind of networking, we need hard disk in that case, okay? So ultimately, installing any software and using and configuration of network protocol and servers is needed time and resources, okay? And when you need resources, you have choice, okay? You can set up these resources in your office premise, or maybe if you are just doing as a student, you can set up these thing at your home. But whatever you do for setup to these resources, you need money initially because you need to purchase server, router, and switch, and you need a time also to set up it. Money and time both required. And you are purchasing a Cisco router, maybe a big system, so huge money will be involved initially, okay? And maybe you are doing a software testing, and for that you just need 2 hours, and for that 2 hours investing that much money and purchasing the entire resource is not really a good solution. I mean, we can do that, but what we do, we we just need for 2 hours, maybe for 2 days, maybe for 3 days, and for that amount of time, it's really not a feasible idea or good idea to invest that much amount. Okay, let's to understand in a different analogy. For example, I don't know you guys are from which place, but let's say somebody is from XYZ place, somebody is from ABC place, and for your job purpose, you go to Bangalore. Okay, you go to Bangalore, and in Bangalore, you need you need to find some stay and a number of other things. And to find stay, you have two options. Either you purchase it or you rent it. Okay. And initially, when you go for any big cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Pune, and all, so you being individual or a student, which option you adopt, purchase or rent? So, as an analogy purpose, you can generally give me response over the chat room, be for purchase or for rent, which option you adopt in general, so that we can understand the similar situation in the first case. Okay, that's wonderful answer by Sai. Like you generally rent things. Okay, definitely it will save your time because you don't have to go for constructions and all, and of course you don't have to invest that much amount initially. You rent it, right? So ultimately you get the stay, you get the beds, rooms, internet, and everything whatever you needed, and you get that. So ultimately what we do, we rent our resources. That's why we save the time and cost both, and ultimately we get the stay. Similarly, if you go there, you want to set up some software, network, or server, purchasing resources is time taken and money process, because once you purchase it, what is going to happen? You have to set up internet, electricity, power cables connection, install software, configure your routing protocols and all. It is a time taken process. So better to purchase a renting option, which you understood from my last example. Okay, so many companies and many big organizations, they don't want to set up things internally. They want to rent it so that they can use it and return it. Problem with new setup for your application, maybe network, maybe infra. And here I'm going to put that problem.png YML file, sorry, PNG file. And we go for problem. Okay. So like in case of stay, we have some builders, some owners, some landlords, and from there we rent out their property. But what if you want the similar kind of thing in software and hardware industry? We want to rent things whenever we want. So that means if we want to rent it, there are a number of options we are having. Okay. Now, if you go back to furthermore bigger industries, so maybe if you're renting, you have to maintain number of things. So for example, if you are renting your resources, then what you have to do, you have to need some space, you need some power backups to run those resources, you need some networking and many other things. So definitely if you rent it, these things you have to manage. So now again, if you are maintaining power backups, you are maintaining networking, you are maintaining the space to put those resources which you rented out, is again a new problem. So first we solve the problem. Rather than purchasing, we'll go for rent. And when we rent our resources, like router systems and hardware thing. These are other problems. Okay. So what you want to solve both the problems, and you are looking for some provider, and those providers are like, you can just or request for resources, any resources, any resources. And the moment you request for any resources, there are some provider, they are going to maintain for you everything. They will create those resources, they will maintain power and power backups, they will maintain internet connections and networking, they will maintain hard disk devices and many other things which you need. And on demand of your request, they will be preparing it. So these kind of organizations, we are known to be, resource providers. Now the beauty is, you are you're sitting at home, and from here you are requesting for resources, and they are planning it somewhere for you, and then by using any protocol on the internet, you can use them. Okay, you can use them. For example, just to say, let's say you being engineer, what you're doing, you say, okay, I need a router and a switch. So they will give you on the internet a router and switch, and now you can do whatever you want. Maybe you are a software engineer and you say, I need Windows 10 machine with this much RAM and CPU and hard disk and internet speed. And you said it, you demand it, and they prepared it in very less time, like in 1 to 5 minutes. So this kind of provider who will be listening to your request and planning your resources on their side, and then after demanding, you can connect it and use them on internet. So these kind of providers, we are calling it virtual resource provider. Why virtual? Because it's not physically available at your home, at your office or location. Okay. So here is things are coming in picture. You being engineer, you just have to request for the resources. Everything for that request, let maybe software, hardware, CPU, RAM, power, they will be maintaining it for you, and you can just connect to them without any problem. So at your side, you doesn't have to and worry about anything. Okay. So virtual resource provider. Okay. Why we are saying virtual? Because that resources you requested, like a Windows 10 or router or switch, it is not going to be physically available on your site. Okay. So vs.png virtual resources, and renaming it, and I will be just okay. So those organizations and companies who are saying, okay, you request for the resources, we will be maintaining it for you. Those kind of organizations and computing is known as virtual organization. Now, one final example, then we'll done with the concept. Okay. So we are having this is you, and this is the providers, or in your case, you can understand them landlords or rental services. So you being engineer, you requested, and they prepared it here. Now you can use them. For example, you want to use database, you want to use some networking protocol, or you want to use some web server hosting or something. So this will be running their side, and it feels like, okay, you are doing it, but at your side it's not physically available, it is virtually available. So they have, you know, interconnected resources, and you request it and they prepare it for you and they give it to you. So any resource which is requested by you and used by you, but that is not physically available at your end, is known as virtual resources. Or this kind of computing we are also known as virtual computation or virtual computing. And further, the virtual computing is known as cloud computing, because cloud means virtual resources. So whatever resources you demanded for, it is happening on their side, you gonna provide. Okay, so here things are like virtual or cloud computing. So the kind of computation, or CPU, RAM, speed, and everything, which is happening on other side, not at your place, which is known as cloud computing. Okay, so like we can configure ourselves, we are the users, and they are provider, or they are cloud resources provider. And in the provider list, we have really big names like Amazon, like Microsoft, Google, and many others. Let's say Oracle also these days, they are having IBM, Rackspace, and many others. So Amazon is having their cloud named as AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. Microsoft is having their cloud known as Azure. Google is having their cloud GCP. Oracle is having cloud OCI, and IBM is having Bluemix, and many others. So ultimately, you need to request for the resources to the relevant people who can fulfill your demand. Okay, so let me commit the changes here. Fine. Now, for an understanding point of view, can we uh, be able to understand? Okay, finally, if you see, cloud computing, okay, is the delivery service that are provided to a client over internet. So ultimately, whatever kind of things you just need, you can ask from cloud providers, they will give it to you. And these are number of utilities we are having, means benefits we are having. So we'll be talking about them one by one, efficiency, scalability, elasticity, and all these points, and of course all these models. But just to be on the same page, these are some good example of public clouds like Amazon, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and Rackspace, likewise other number of platforms we are having. Okay, so in a very very much summarized way, I can say the cloud computing is nothing, it's a resource provider where we can demand for the resources, and those resources will be getting ready on their side, and then by using this one we can access it. Okay, so today we will be talking about a public cloud computing provider which is giant in industry. Okay, and that public provider is AWS, which stand for Amazon Web Services. Stand for Amazon Web Services, right? And in Amazon Web Services, it's the biggest public cloud provider. Now, what is the meaning of public cloud? Which means anybody can create account and start using, then pay later. So first you create account, then you start using and you pay later. So technically, any of the cloud provider which industry has, in right now situation, we can use them to provide resources. Okay. So any company who can give you resources, they are known to be virtual resource provider or maybe cloud resource provider. Okay. Now, what we can say, what we need. So the first of all, what we are going to demand for it. So let's say I want to demand a Windows system, and that Windows system maybe 1 GB RAM, 1 core CPU, let's say 50 GB storage. These are also aware about any of the Linux machine, okay, where with the same resources. So we can log into Amazon or Azure or Google, any cloud infrastructure platform, and then we can demand for a machine that, okay, we need a system. That system will be having Windows operating system or maybe Linux, and with these resources. Now again, you are setting it at office and you are demanding from AWS cloud. So AWS cloud will be creating these resources on their infrastructure premise, and you being user, you can now access those machines using internet. So technically you can access those machines using internet, because these machines are not available in your location physically. That's why they are known to be virtual machine. So if the laptops like this are available at your location, that physical machine, if it is not physically available, then you can call it virtual machines. If they're available physically, like laptop and PCs, you call them physical machines. Okay. So hopefully you understand the difference between physical and virtual machine. I don't know, maybe some of you already known to it, but this is our conceptual section and we are closing it now. We don't want to, go straight. So we'll be talking about the DevSecOps training. But before that, we have to understand a little bit cloud model, then DevOps model, then DevSecOps model. So you need to stay for 3-4 hours just to understand that one. And if you already know cloud and DevOps, then DevSecOps training will be also useful. I mean, you'll get it then automatically. Because here people who are not using or not familiar with the cloud, then we have to understand with the developer and then security. Okay, so you have to stay for 3-4 hours to understand that. Okay, now everybody, you understand this model, that physical machine, if the machine is available physically like a laptop and PC to your reach, that is physical. But if the machine, the Linux or Windows machine, is not available to you guys physically like laptop and PCs, but you can still use it over internet, that machine is known as virtual machine. So are you guys, whosoever was not understanding or using cloud computing, are you guys able to understand the difference between physical and virtual machine? Y means yes and N for no. 2 responses, and very quickly you can give it to me. Okay. So If you understand what is physical and what is virtual machine, just type Y. If not, type no. And if you have any question, then also type there. So in a nutshell, we can say, okay, if you use cloud computing model, you will be getting virtual machines. Okay. And here, let's understand one more thing, and then we will be able to perform practically. Okay, we'll be able to perform practically. So these are things. Few confusions sometimes we have, like either I call them virtual machine or physical machine, or you call them machine as server, virtual server or physical server. They both are very, very much similar terms. So here is the thing. Now, let's understand one more thing and we'll get it. Let's say this is your HCL office, okay? And this is your HCL office, Hyderabad, right? Hyderabad. And there's one more HCL office, let's say Bangalore. Okay. Now here you have a PC called Windows 10, and you being an employee, you are sitting here. Now in HCL Hyderabad office, there is a Windows server and there is a Linux server also. You can say server or PC or laptop, both are fine. Now you are an employee and you need to do something here, either here, which is not in your office premise. So by using internet, which protocol you guys are going to use to access and connect these machines? So for example, you want to do some testing or something here or here, then from this office, which protocol you guys will be using? So like one option is RDP, second option is SH. So my point is, if you all already know about it, so I can skip this one. Then if you're having your system remotely somewhere, then which protocol you guys will be using? So it's something I can get a response from you guys. Everyone is familiar of RDP and SSH. If it is yes, then I can avoid this topic very clearly. So if you're available, I mean, you know these protocols already, type yes. If not, then type no or N. Just to let you know, if you want to connect a remote server, a remote protocol, if the target system is Windows, you can use RDP protocol. And if this is Linux, you can use SSH, where RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, and where SSH stands for Secure Shell. So this is the thing which you can keep in your mind, that whenever you want to access a distance location or a remote system from your machine to any other, if target machine is Windows, then you will be using RDP protocol, like remote desktop method. If the target machine is Linux, you will be using SSH. So keep that thing in mind, and then we will be on the same page. All right. So this is the point of remote and this. So now If it is your office and Hyderabad, Bangalore and Hyderabad office, so similar model is going to work in cloud, AWS or Google or Azure. So if they will create virtual machines for you on their location, then by using same protocol like RDP and SH, you can access these machines. Remote desktop for this. So let's understand and do this practically in our Amazon cloud model. Okay. Right, guys. So that is wonderful. So now let's understand this AWS console portal. Now in this console, let's compare it from this. So for example, if we are calling ourselves as cloud users, we being cloud users, we can be anywhere. So we can sit anywhere, it doesn't matter. Like for example, maybe some of you will be there in Bangalore, some of you people will be in Hyderabad. If I talk about myself, I am in Rajasthan, Jaipur. So we all are sitting on different locations, and we all are going to send request to AWS cloud, which is Amazon Web Services. And the AWS cloud has a lot of resources.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job. Now let's continue with the session.
And they have planned their resources in different reasons. Different reasons. Now, what is reason? Reason is nothing, it's a place. It can be a city or a country or something where they will be processing your request. So, for example, I am living in Jaipur and my name is Ashutosh, and I'm having account on AWS Cloud, which is definitely a paid account. So when I'm going to send a request, okay, give me a virtual machine of this resources. So it is going to ask me in which region you want to plan. So first of all, what is region in Amazon Cloud? It's a public place, city or country where your virtual machine will be created. Okay. And we being cloud engineer, we can adopt those things. So if you see after logging to your console, on the right hand top corner, you will see a name here. This is your region name. See, like my region is Oregon, Oregon here. So Oregon is the name of location where my Amazon cloud is landed for my console. So whatever resource I demand, that will be available here. Okay. So is it all okay, guys? For you also, is the reason is Oregon? Yes, perfect. Okay. Now, like these, Amazon is offering number of reasons. Number of reasons. For example, if I just want to see what other reasons Amazon is offering, you can click on this drop down menu, and now you see. So right now, Amazon Cloud is offering these many reasons, which I'm going to click it again, where like North Virginia, Ohio, North California, Oregon, Cape Town, Hong Kong, Jakarta, Mumbai, and many other places like Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, Frankfurt, Ireland, London, and many others, right? So these many different reasons Amazon is offering, and if you have that account, visibility, then you will be able to see that. So now, whatever reason you go, your virtual machine resources will be getting planned over there. So let's switch back from Oregon region to Mumbai because we are in India. So the most nearest location for us will be Mumbai. Okay, so let's go here and click on Mumbai Asia Pacific, and you change your region to Mumbai. That means now whatever virtual machine you guys will be requesting for, those virtual machines will be planned by Amazon in Mumbai location. So you are sitting in this and you can plan your virtual machines in Mumbai region. Okay. So I am completely understanding that one, that yes, you guys switched it to Mumbai region. Now, once we switch to Mumbai region, we all are on the same page. How to ask for a request? Okay. So after switching in Mumbai region, in the first, on the right hand top corner, it was a region. On the left hand first one, it is service. Now click on this one also, which is written as services. Okay. So you are getting number of services on the left panel. Okay? You're getting number of services on the left panel. And here you have to choose the service which can give resources like a virtual machine to you. So if you click on service, on the service, you have to choose the compute service, which is on this one, compute service. And that compute service is going to give you these options to you. Okay, these options to you. So check that one. Okay, right, guys. So click on compute, and the moment you click on compute, you will get again number of options on the compute section, but you have to go for the third option, which is EC2, that is virtual server in the cloud. Again, I'm repeating, on the services, click on compute, and the compute section we have these many things, and in these many things we have a EC2 option, which is virtual servers in the cloud, and click here. Okay, so check that one. Okay, and hopefully we are in the Mumbai region, right? Once we are in Mumbai region, let me, okay. So now Amazon Cloud is keeping things separate for you, which is in Mumbai region, this much as things, maybe in other region, you don't have anything. So let's just test it by switching the region. Please keep remember these numbers. Let's say elastic IP 1, 3 key pair, 2 instance, and 30, and this all these things, right? So once we switch it, so let's go back to your Mumbai region, click here, and let's switch it to, for example, Ohio. Ohio is again in East USA. So click on Ohio, OHIO. Click on Ohio. And once we click on Ohio, means we are changing our region from Mumbai to Ohio. And this time in the dashboard, yes, we are not having elastic IP and instances here. So we need to work here. Okay, we will be working here. And what I'm doing, let's fix this one, that for this training, we will be working in Ohio region, right? So let's fix this one. In AWS Cloud, Amazon Web Services Cloud will work with Ohio region. Okay. And if you want to Google about this, some information, maybe I'll go there, OHIO state. Okay, you can see here Ohio is a state in middle stem of region in United States. So whatever virtual machines we guys will be creating, it will be creating in United States of America in Ohio state. Okay, so this is the place where Amazon has planned their data centers, their cloud venture, and will be doing it here. Well, so just for your information point of view. So I'm just keeping it fixed here. We will be working in OYO region in AWS cloud platform, and we are making it fix. Okay. Now, when it comes to in OYO region or in AWS cloud, if you want virtual machines or server, you call it virtual machine or virtual server, then Amazon is offering number of services. Now the name of service which can give you virtual services is EC2. Sometimes EC2 also written by people like ECC, it's 2 times C, and that stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, so if someone is gonna ask in general as a question, which is the Amazon service name who can provide virtual machines or server to you in any region? The reason can be anything in any region. So you must answer the name of services EC2. So let's say when you be really professional like that, EC2 will be the right option. ECC is not the right keyword. You always prefer EC2, right? So see, it doesn't matter you are having here. So you can click on services and typically you can go to compute section. In compute, you can go for EC2. And here you got there. Now, even if you are in, let's say, you don't switch it, Hong Kong region also, and same for Hong Kong. So enable, Hong Kong is not enabled for me. Maybe I can switch anybody anywhere else. For example, North California. If I go in North California region, in the same North California region also, the name of service for me under compute is EC2. So the name of service will be always common. It doesn't matter in which region you are going. So we are working in Ohio. So I'm switching back to Ohio again. Perfect. So let's start creating our first virtual machine, which is by using Elastic Compute Cloud, which is EC2, and the reason we will be working in Ohio. Okay, so I'll go there and I'll take EC2. Okay, let me commit the changes. And once I go there, let me upload these two YAMLs so that we will be on the same page. Okay, so I'm giving you the time of 5 minutes, and in this 5 minutes, what you have to do, you have to revise day 1. So what you have to do, we are adopting rental services rather than purchasing, because rental is less time taken and cheap also. And when it comes to virtual or cloud computing, we always have to request, and the provider will be planning for you, then you can use it. Let's come back to physical or virtual machines. If the system is available to you, like a laptop or PC, so it's a physical machine. Otherwise, if it is not available to you physically on your place, it is virtual machine. Every cloud like Amazon or Azure, they are offering virtual machines or virtual servers. Now, how you access remote or virtual servers? All right, guys, welcome and welcome and welcome back. So, yes, we are back with after 5 minute revision time. So, do we have any questions regarding day one? Right now, I can expect that if someone gonna ask in your organization in HCL specifically, you know the difference between virtual and physical machine. Physical machine is available to you, virtual machine is not, but you can access it through internet or network. And if it is Windows, the target server, you can access using RDP. If it is Linux, using as such. In Amazon Cloud, we first talk about our we can say reason, which is a physical place where we will be planning our resources, and those resources are physical or virtual machine. And then these are something like, to create virtual machine, we have to call a service called EC2, and then we'll start here. Okay. If you don't have any question and all these concepts are 100% clear, let's create our first AWS virtual machine. Okay. So please give me a favor by responding a Y or yes message, that yes, you don't have any confusion or conceptual glitch. Okay. So let's now go back to our Ohio region, and let's create our first virtual machine. Okay, our first virtual machine. Now I'm going back to my Amazon console portal here, and we make sure you are not outside anywhere. We are in Ohio region. Okay, in Ohio region. So you see, we don't see any running instance right there. So click on this running instance, like a running instance, which is 0. I'm clicking on here. And if it is somewhere giving you running in state is equals to 0, you can cancel it. I mean, if it is giving this one, you can cancel it. Now, you see, we don't have any virtual machine or virtual server running here in this region. So there is a option, either use this, or on the right hand top corner, you have a launch instance option. So you choose this one or this one, both are same. So I prefer this one in the middle, launch instance. The moment I click here, launch instance, it is going to take this one. Okay. Now, one more thing. Maybe like myself, you'll be getting this blue line where it is asking for opt out the old experience. This is a new console which Amazon has launched few months back. So what you can do, you can adopt for an old experience, which is 4 months back or 3 months back, how Amazon was look like. So you can click here, opt out the old experience. I click here, and then you will be like this. So the first question on step number 1, which Amazon is asking, choose an Amazon machine image, which means when you want to create a virtual machine in Amazon cloud, they are asking for choosing a virtual machine image. Okay, they're opting for choosing a virtual machine image. So first virtual machine image, we will be creating a Linux type. Now, if you come down, they are having Amazon Linux, two Amazon Linux, they're having Mac OS also, and they're having Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and they're having many other. So let's not explore these much. The first one you choose, which is free eligible tier, that is Amazon Linux 2MI. So choose Amazon Linux, the first one, and here you have a button for select. So without doing any further delay, I am selecting this one. So the first option we choose was Amazon Linux. Now the second option, we have number of resources. So ultimately they are trying to ask how much resources you want. So let's everybody go for free tier, which is they are giving 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM. So you have to choose this one only, which is known as T2.micro in Amazon language. And in T2.micro, we are having 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM. Okay. So let's choose this one. Do not choose anything. It's unnecessary cost oriented, but I requested for this one. And now by choosing this from button, let's click on the next configuration. So I click on next. I click on next. Now here we don't have to do anything. So just keep this as it is. We don't have to do anything. It is all by default settings, so we don't have to do anything. Just let's go next again. And the next button is add storage. Now in add storage, you can see by default, Amazon is recommending 8 GB storage is fine for your Linux virtual machine. So we are going with the Amazon recommendation. So means let's not change anything. Now going back to the next section, which is next add tag. And here it is important that you add a tag. I will tell you why, because otherwise we won't be able to understand who created this. So let's say click on add a tag, and the key you write the name keyword, N capital name. Okay, and let's say Ashutosh Linux VM. So you can write anything, but I write it Ashutosh hyphen Linux hyphen VM so that I can see this is my Linux machine. So name is having N capital. In fact, if you don't remember what is the keyword, Amazon is giving here the key section will be having a name keyword N capital, and the value section can have any name. I'm giving it my name. So that's Ashu Linux VM. You can give your name Linux virtual machine. I mean, it's just for identification purpose so that we can remember, okay, this virtual machine is mine. Now, let's go to the next section, which is configure security group. So click here, and now the security group name you have to choose, which is just choose your own name. For example, Ashutosh hyphen firewall. I can imagine something which is because some of you guys are doing networking, right? So I hope you must be aware about the firewall rules or firewall. If not, don't worry, we'll be figuring it out. Okay. So Ashutosh hyphen firewall. Choose this. And here it is automatically, they said, we are permitting SSH connection port 22, and the custom resource you can choose it from anywhere, which means this Linux virtual machine can be accessed from anywhere using SSH protocol. So Amazon is automatically recommending SSH method, which is right here. Okay, this is the one. So now you see this, and after choosing anywhere, you give a name and go for final section, which is review and launch. Just click on review. This is all review. So let me know once everybody are reached. Here you have Amazon Linux, you have a type T2 micro, you have a security group, name your own something, and where the SSH port is allowed, these things are there. And if you reach to the launch button, just give me Y message that we all are on the same page. Okay. Okay. Now, finally, once you do this, let's come back to the final point, review and launch. And we have this one. That's it. In review and launch, you just click it. Okay, so let's click on the final section, which is review and launch. And now we have this one. So you don't have to do anything, just verify details. And now here, click on launch. Now you have to little bit figure out in the choose an existing key pair, you have to choose the create a new key pair. We'll talk about it what is key pair, but choose create new and give a name, let's say Ashutosh hyphen pair, okay? Or Ashutosh hyphen password details. So we are giving a name of file, which you can give anything, but I choose create new key pair, RSA, and here any name, any name. We can write Ashu pass, okay? Anything. It doesn't matter what name you are choosing, it's just a name of file, right? So create new key pair and here write any name. Once you do this, just click on download key pair, okay? And I allowed my browser and my Ashu-pass got downloaded in my download folder. Anyway, now once you do this, just scroll a little bit down. After downloading, you click on launch instance. Just finally after downloading launch instance. And this one is giving you the boom. All right. After clicking on launch, you come down, you see the view instances is getting launched. Perfect. I can see these many instances are in launch state. It will take some time. I think somebody left their name. So if you think you launched it, you can write your name right now. So Divya, Ashu, Deepak, and Molali. So, and one is unknown. If you have launched it, you can write your name by clicking here and edit your name. All right, guys. So these many virtual machines are running. And now it's time to connect. So ultimately, we have virtual machines running. I would like to understand one more thing. In your laptop, which operating system you guys are having? You're having Windows, which one? Windows 10, 11, or you are having Mac in your laptop, or you're having Linux. In your laptop or PC, whatever you are having, which one is the operating system right now? So do share your response on the chat room to share your, okay, that's great. Fine. So what you can do to connect your virtual machine, which is running in Amazon Cloud on Ohio region, what you can do, you can open Windows PowerShell. See, just go to your Windows search box like this and type for PowerShell. Like I am typing for terminal. So open Windows PowerShell. Okay, open Windows PowerShell. And second, by going into the My Computer option, you have to see in desktop download or what is the location where your file got downloaded. Let's say for me, ashu-post.pem, and maybe for you, something in which folder it got downloaded. If it's downloaded in downloads folder in your PowerShell, just go to downloads folder. Okay. So See that one? And there you can see others. For me, it's ashupass.pem. So the file name you downloaded was .pem. It is downloaded. Now what you do, using ssh command, write -i and the name of the file ashu-pass. File name is ashu capital. Okay. ssh-i ashu-pass.pem. So what we are doing, we are trying to connect, right? This, if Windows 10 is there, this method is for Windows 10, right? So sh-i, that file name, and EC2-user. Okay, before you go ahead, let's say if you want to connect any virtual machine which is running on AWS cloud, AWS VM. So from Windows 10, and if someone is having Windows 7, or maybe you are having Mac. So in Windows 10, you can open PowerShell. Okay, here you go. And in PowerShell type ssh-i and the name of that key, let's say ashu-pass.pem.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job. Now let's continue with the session.
EC2-user. This is the username of this VM, right? And this file will be acting as password. Okay, and this virtual machine will be also having IP address. So I believe you all are, having networking session in your SCL premise. So you understand IP address. So at the rate IP address of that VM. So let's see. I go back to this. First of all, I am in downloads folder. sh-i this EC2-user at the rate. And for Ashu VM, I choose this box. Then I'll see in public IP address, I have this one. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. So you click here, you get this is a public under description section of summary details. You get the public IPv4, copy that IP from this copy button and paste it here. Everybody whosoever using Windows 10, you can type this from PowerShell, and if you hit enter for the first time, you may ask for this message and you type yes. Okay. Once you type yes, maybe you get this warning, but if not, then you can avoid this message. Okay. Like this once you type. I think Windows 10, you don't get this error at all. Then you are directly landed to this one, and you see you are now logging to the next virtual machine. Like this. If you found this error, this is the solution, but ideally you don't see this error in Windows 10. So keep me posted with yes or Y message that connected. All right, guys. So just let me know that you guys are connected like that from Windows 10. And finally, you get something like this prompt. Y for yes and for no. Everybody, like, so what is the status? If you are able to do that, that is perfect, wonderful, fine. If not, then also give me end message. No, you don't get it. So are you guys all there? I mean, so guys, please respond over the chat room, yes or no. Okay. Now if I try, say, connecting to my base, click on connect. The first option is EC2 Instance Connect, and I'll click here and not session manager, search client, EC2 console. So, which means I have to do one thing for you. So, can you guys try one thing? Is only SH is blocked, or maybe other things are also blocked? For example, let's say if you guys can do a ping, right? So try to do ping from your Windows CMD or PowerShell, like this one, will be blocked. So email is fine, but if you don't have, SS connectivity problem, then I think it will be perfectly okay. Fine. So apart from connection point of view, I mean, we guys are on the same page without any problem, right? Okay. Now let's do one thing. So if you want to stop or delete virtual machine, so do one thing. Click on this, your machine, and in instance action section, you can go to instance setting, and maybe here the number of options, or otherwise in VM we have instance state. We can stop, reboot, and terminate. So do one thing, just click on this one and click on stop the instance to stop that virtual machine which is running. Because if you are not using that VM, you should stop virtual machine using. So this action is all fine. Okay. This action is all fine. Everybody, guys, you can stop the instance, and that's how we can say that the EC2 part is launching part and stopping part is done. In case you are not using, again, I'm saying this stopping is fine. So whenever we need, we will start it back. So now back to this section where we are now going to do one more thing. Okay. And what is that? So let me go back to my portal first. And in this portal of dashboard in Amazon Cloud Overview region, we have one instance running. And also if you talk about key pairs, we have these many key pairs. So I delete all the key pairs except the one I have mine. So I'll delete all of them. Okay. So Amazon is not charging for any keys purpose, but yes, I just deleted for my own reason. Now let's complete one more assignment, and that assignment will be for hosting your application. So now the assignment is something like deploy a sample web application in AWS virtual machine. Okay. When someone is saying, okay, deploy a web app in AWS virtual machine, what does that mean? Number first, you have to create a virtual machine. As of now, we only know creating a Linux-based virtual machine. So let's create that one with the existing resources. And once we do that, then we'll come to the second step. Second one is to set up any application server, okay, application server on this VM. So let's first go back to our Ohio region. And if you refresh that one, we are just having one VM running, which is the one I used mine. Apart from this, nothing is done. Okay. If I close this one, so what you can see, like here, monitor. So now what we all have to do this time, we all have to create one Linux virtual machine in Amazon Cloud, and we'll deploy application over there. So first of all, step one, let's launch it. So you go to the Ohio region of your own account and click on launch. Okay, you use the previous version of dashboard web UI, and here we are opting for Amazon Linux MI2. So let's choose that one. So no other options are there, and let's only choose this one, like T2 Micro, which is the free tier. In the instance configuration details, you don't have to touch anything. Storage is also 8 GB, so we don't have to worry about it. Tags, definitely, this time I'll write like name Ashu application server. Okay, I am writing the name, let's say Ashu application server, because this virtual machine I will be configuring as application server in upcoming section. So in tag section, you can write your own name, application server, which is I'm just giving you on the chat room in case you want to have it. And now going back to the next section, which is security group, do not create the new one. Select an existing and choose your own name of firewall you had and review. Okay, then launch. Now this time in the launch section, we don't have much keys. So you can choose this create new key pair this time, because I deleted those one. Create new key pair. And in this key pair, like for example, I'm going to, let's say Ashutosh pass key. Any name you can give this time, because I deleted the previous one. And you click on downloads, it will be downloaded on your download folder. When you do this, just launch it. And after launching, click on view instance. Okay. So do the same. I am waiting for you guys. Only thing you have to do, just in the final stage where you are creating key, you have to create your own key, and that key will be downloaded. So just drop a done message to me once you done it. I am there, and then we can go ahead with the same thing. So expecting from others, like you guys can create and launch with the new passkey this time. So now if you want to connect with your instance, the first thing you have to do, open your PowerShell like that, And once you open your PowerShell, you have to go to downloads folder where your passkey.pem got downloaded in PowerShell. Okay, so check here.
Okay, sir.
So here I have my Ashu passkey, and this time I think the name I given is Ashutosh key.pem, Ashutosh passkey, this one, right? So you can go to that location where your key got downloaded. If you're not sure where it got downloaded, you can go to your browser section and where you can open folder, okay? Show in Finder or open folder. So you see, okay, it's in download. I suppose this one. I'll go there, and now for MacBook, I have to run one extra command. Okay, so what I did, cd downloads. For MacBook, I have to run one extra command, but for Windows, you don't have to. Set -i ashutosh passkey.pem ec2 user @ this @ and IP address. And from where you get IP address, you go back to your portal again, select your application server, and then you see this is the public IPv4, public IPv4. Got that, and we hit enter. For the first time, it will ask yes, yes it is. And now you can see, okay, you are logged in with the who am I EC2 user. Okay. So once you're logged in, you give me a Y message or done message that yes, you have done with your virtual machine, which is running there. Okay. So keep me posted with done message that you have done it without any problem. Same approach. Open your PowerShell, go to downloads. You don't have to perform this step because this is for Mac and Linux, not for Windows PowerShell. And then do this. Anybody who might have reached? Okay. So what is the mistake? If your key is wrong and you are giving, let's say, this space, again, unnecessary thing, I cannot log in simply. Or maybe if my username is something and I'm trying with this, definitely when that username is not present, you won't be able to log in. So properly write the username, write the key, write this one. How you see what is the username of your virtual machine? You go to your VM, let's say your VM, select it, click on connect, and then you get the username here, IP here, both. So it's a one-step job. Click on your box of VM, click on connect, and then IP address and username both you can find here. Also, which key you have used for this virtual machine, you select it, you go little right side, and here you see Ashutosh -passkey I'm using. Okay, so done. Now I am hoping I don't have to repeat this same one more time because everybody is now smart enough to take the decision. I'm logging again out and then doing the same thing. Rather than copying the entire command one more time, if your upper arrow key is not working fine, I will suggest that you guys can open Notepad, and in the Notepad you can write these commands. Like for example, I'm just writing here the sh command, so that even if you are not able to use your upper arrow key, try to copy your instructions here so that you can quickly copy and paste and log in again. Otherwise, unnecessarily the outcome won't come much and we will face a timeout. So note down those commands, and to see, I can tell you the best way. First of all, always try to figure out what you have done. Let's say if you choose your this VM, you click on connect, you get at least these two details. Now, if you go to the SH client section, you will see the entire command is written like this. So if you are worried in typing, you just have to go to the downloads folder, and then here in SH client, they have given the command, you copy it and you paste it, enter. You will be logged in. Yes, and you logged in. The only difference is they are not using IP address, they are using some big name, and otherwise, instead of that big name, you can use this IP address as well. So always try to find how. See, I'm canceling it. Select your VM, click on connect. You get the first option where the username IP, either this or maybe go to the third section and chmod this for Mac and Linux. Now you can ignore this. This is an example. /-i key name, then EC2 user, and this one. So I think from now onwards, it won't be any problem for anybody. Okay. So this is the VM and where we are there. Can I get a final done message? I just want to recount because we've been struggling. So a done message, whosoever finally connected to their VM. So final done message, and we'll go ahead with the next option. Then now we have done, then we are talking about set up any application server, because you know that we want to host our application in AWS VM. So when I say we want to host our application, which means there will be some website you will be accessing it. So for example, today we are accessing like www.google.com. So this website is created by Google, and by typing name or maybe IP address, we are accessing this page. So now what I was talking about, when we want to host or run any application, what we need application server. Okay. And there are number of application server in the market, which you might know, like Apache, HTTPD, Nginx, Tomcat, like this. So these are the application servers. You can choose any of them to host your website. So the first application server we are choosing is this one. And about this, there are two things you have to understand. You have to keep your application server or web application website under this location, like where www and HTML folder. In this location, you have to keep your website, and the port number is 80. So likewise, time to time we'll be understanding other application servers, but to host any website, we need application server, and we'll be using this one. So what we are going to do here, this application server, Apache HTTPD, we are going to set up here. So first of all, we have to install that software, and to install that software, what I need to do, I think I got disconnected by Wi-Fi router, so I'm logging it again. Going back to VM, select mine, click on connect, client, copy. Okay, Now what you can do here, install HTTPD server. Number one step is install it. And how we install any software in Linux? We use sudo, or maybe directly by using yum install HTTPD. Once I do that, it is saying you need root to perform this one. To use root access, I'll use sudo in the beginning. Okay, and then hit enter. Type Y. It is going to install the HTTPD software in your cloud VM. Okay, so just install that one. What is the step? I'm telling you again. The command number 4 you have to use to install HTTPD. Okay, installing HTTPD. So any software you want to install in the next machine of Amazon, you always keep this system fixed. Change this name, maybe HTTPD, maybe some browser or something, and yes, by using this we have installed it. So step 2 is done. We have done with the installation. Okay, done message is fine. If you can write Y or done message, that's okay, you have done it too. Because if you try this thing again, it will show you it's already installed. Now let's go back to step number 2. Copy website to Apache HTTPD server. Okay, to copy that website in HTTPD server, you have to go to a location called where www HTML. So this is the location from where your HTTPD server will be running. You see, under where www HTML. So you go to this location, which is where www and HTML. And here, just create a very sample page that say, hello, I am Ashutosh. You can write your own name. Redirect is to index.html. Okay, but to do that, you again need root access. So you put sudo in the beginning. If it is not accepting sudo, then to go back to sudo -i and then go to where www.html and echo hello, I am Ashutosh. Okay, so sudo command is not working with echo and this sign. So do one thing, you log in with this step sudo -i. Now see your user change from EC2 to root permanently. Okay, and from here you go to this step and then go to the same. All right, guys. Once you're done, from this to this, keep your name. So it's a very sample website page which we are keeping. Again, done message, and then the second step is done. So I'm copying things from here and pasting it here again. So the reason of sudo -i is to permanently log in with the root user. Okay. So another done message or yes message. So step number 2 will be done. Do not try this from here. Sudo -i, then go to this, then create a sample page. Other people, guys, please do me a favor by responding that yes, you have done it too, so we can be on the same page. So fine. If it has done it, then that's fine. Now let's go back to the final step in website hosting, which is start HTTPD server or start HTTPD, better to call it application server, which is now systemctl start HTTPD. And also you can check it by doing status. Yes, it is active and running. Okay. So these three steps. Now, if you have done it, see, sharing history, cd this, start, and check the status. The purpose of status is to see is this field is active and running. Now, by performing these steps, you have completed all the prerequisites. Okay. Now, let's understand. Let's try to even access it from the browser. So this is now if I try to go back and EC2 instance and try to get my application server IP address, let's say here, and then I'm trying to access it like this, we are not getting anything. Okay, we're not able to get anything. I think the same thing will be happening with others also. Now let's understand the reason. And to understand the reason, what I'll do, I'll give you another scenario here. So let's say if this is your VM in Amazon Cloud, Amazon is having its bigger network infrastructure here. So this is AWS VM. This is Amazon network, and this is us. We can send SSH request to this VM on EC2-user request, and it is getting approved.
Just a quick info guys, if you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job. Now let's continue with the session.
Similarly, we are sending HTTP request, and that HTTP request is not giving us any page. So you have to figure out why SH is connecting and why HTTP not, because of this network zone. So I'm giving you 5-minute time to read about this network zone topic, which is firewall. So then you will understand why Amazon is not giving access of this VM website over HTTP. Okay, so first read about it, and then I'll ask definition one by one after 5 minutes. All right, guys. So have you read about this firewall thing? If it is yes, then anybody can tell me about the firewall, that what you have read about it, because I think somebody is, I mean, a lot of you guys are already gone through some network conceptual training. All right, guys. So just to summarize, is firewall is just like a gatekeeper which is not giving you an internal access, because when someone is trying to go from outside to inside, outside to inside, then a firewall is a device which is being planned by Amazon Cloud. So it only understand to allow SSH traffic. That's why we are able to do SSH in our VM. But the same VM is running HTTP server, and we are not able to access because firewall is not giving permission to that. So what we need to do, we need to select our VM and you scroll a little bit this side, and here you see the firewall rule for my application server is Ashutosh firewall. So I am going into my dashboard section here and checking this is security group. In this security group, I am just searching for Ashutosh firewall. Even I can search it, I think. Ashutosh firewall. Okay, and in this firewall, I can edit the inbound. Inbound means incoming traffic. Edit the inbound rules by edit here, and here I can see only SSH is allowed from anywhere. Now I will click on add rule, select this protocol from SSH to HTTP from anywhere. Okay, and then click on save. The moment I saved my firewall rules means I allowed it. Now I refresh my page. Perfect, we get it. See, I get like hello, I am Ashutosh. So let me go back to this one and see, show you again. First of all, in the instance section, you select your VM, and your VM. Now you go little left side. You see in the security group section name, which is the firewall rule. Now you got the firewall rule from here. Go to dashboard, go to security groups, and search for that firewall rule. Then you selected this one. You click on edit inbound rules. The come little down. Click on edit bound rules. Then here add new rules and select HTTP and from anywhere IPv4. Now you save it. Once you save it, you go back to instance again and say in the beginning under instance, what is your IP address? Take that one, public IP, go and paste, hit enter, and it is giving my name of application, which is hello, I am Ashutosh. Okay, so this is the firewall rule which we are understanding. So edit the changes, and if you're also able to access your application by typing IP address on the chat room, then you can let me know that okay, it is fine. We added this firewall rule for HTTP request also, and then things are working fine because I can run my website and you can run your website. Is it fine, guys? The HTTPD service and its location, all things. Okay, yes or done or okay message is fine if you get this thing entirely. So please do let me know that you all are on the same page. Other people also, if someone is having any complexity in doing the same, please let me know. So can I say in a summarized way that three things I am expecting conceptually and little bit practically, not everything. First of all, you got to know cloud computing. Ken, you know what is virtual machine? You know how to access with SSH. Third, launch VM, you also understand how you launch a VM. Fourth, there is a server called Apache HTTPD, and that is responsible for website hosting. And these are three steps: install, copy, and start. Then number four, in the firewall, we call it security group. We edited the changes. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and number point is 5, which one is little bit you are not confident or you're not okay anyway? Which one is not okay? You can write the number 1, 2, 3, 4 that you really need to practice it. And once you practice it, then I will be giving you a few assignments to practice that one. So which part is not okay to you. And if all okay, you can type all okay, it's all okay. If not, then write that number. This is okay, fine. So what I'm going to do, just showing to you guys how, in a very quick way, how you can get this from there. So see, if I'll give you some generic reading about Apache HTTPD, so you see this one, it's a server which is free and open source platform, and this server can host HTTP based websites. So for example, if I'm accessing like hcl.com, it is possible that hcl.com website will be running in this server. Okay, so for server we need VM. So for example, what I'll do, I'll take some sample project. Let's say sample HTML project on GitHub. So I'll take, this one. This is a very sample project. I'm taking this one. I'm going back to my application service where I am logging to my virtual machine. Let's say Ashu Linux VM, where I don't have anything as of now running. So SSH-I, and which key I am using there, Ashu pass. Okay, Ashu pass EC2 user. So first of all, I am logged in here, and which is fine. Now I'm switching back to root user, because to perform anything we need admin access. So I am in admin. First of all, I will install HTTPD. Now what is yum? Like in Windows, you have command line and double click. So to install software in Linux, we have yum. And the software is getting installed. It is asking for yes, no, and D. I type yes. Software will be. Now I am installing one more application. I mean, this is not useful to you guys, but why I installed this? Because I want to download this page in my system. So I do git clone, and I have this one. Now I will copy everything from project HTML website to where www.html, because you know that every single page which my Apache HTTPD want to show, that must be under this location. When I copied, I'm going to start HTTPD service. Okay, when I start, I am taking the IP address of first VM, and then I'm trying to access that page, which is this complete website. It's like hcl.com. If I'll type hcl.com, it is showing this, and it is showing this. So the bottom line is here, if you see, I just installed one server, and then I copied some sample project from GitHub. Then I copied the entire data to where www.html, and I started it. And of course, this is the firewall based rule. So this firewall, Ashu firewall, was a rule. I went into dashboard and security groups, search for Ashu firewall, and in the Ashu firewall there's a details and inbound. Click on inbound, edit this one, and added HTTP. How? Like from here, then the custom is anywhere. Then I saved it. So when I saved it, so I'm giving a permission to my firewall rule that okay, now you allow HTTP also. So by default, Amazon is blocking HTTP, and here we have given this to that much. Okay, good one. All right, good. So if something need to be added here, which is not there, I'm going to check. Okay, now you see that all of us are having a different website. So let's deploy this one. Okay. So what you guys can do now, whosoever already having things running, you go to where www.html and you see here you have this index.html only. Apart from index.html, you are not having anything. So I am here. I am just writing, hello, I am Ashutosh. Redirect it to index.html. So we have this page, which is completely fine. But as of now, we all are having a different pages. So it's not visible to the single one. Now, coming back to our next concept, which is load balancer. Okay. So if you see here, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are about 11 virtual machines are running. 11 virtual machines, right? And 11 is not a small number, right? It's not a small number because things are running very much fine. Now imagine that all these 11 machines are not for a different website. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. They are not for a different website. All these virtual machines are hosting common website. Okay, common website. Let's say www.google.com. Because once a popular website got the traffic, you may need to create number of servers for the same purpose. So let's see that all these VM1 to VM12, they are running same website. I mean, everywhere our data is same. So for example, you go there and you do one thing, write this echo command, make sure you are in the HTML location where you are having this one. If you're not on HTML location, you use this command first. Now I'm changing common message to this like hello, we are HCL, and redirect it to index.html. So let's change all the data to one common name because you can imagine this is a common website. So change only this thing to hello HCL, and it will automatically replace the previous data. Once you change it, you go to VM, you choose your virtual machine, Ashu application, you just click on public IP, you go back, you paste, you see hello. Okay, sorry. I have this VM. We are SCL. Just change and you refresh it again. You don't have to modify your firewall and all. But if you can see that you all are getting the same message of your application service by using your IP address, then let me know that everybody of us is hosting same application, which is hello, we are SCL. Again, yes message or okay message or done is fine. Just last thing, and you will be on the right track. You refresh your page and you get it. No changes are required, nothing. Okay. So everybody, you have to put same message, hello, we are SCL. And once you do that, okay, that means max of you just done it. Okay, good job, guys. So what you really need to understand sometimes, for example, as of now, we are having a very sample website. And in upcoming days, we'll be having some very big websites like google.com, where the number of people are hitting traffic is we cannot count, right? And definitely for you go for fb.com also, facebook.com. In this place also, number of users are hitting these applications, and things are definitely going to be changed. How? Because if you think a single server, let's say single virtual machine, can handle the entire user traffic of google.com, then seriously it's not possible. Because you know that google.com is a very giant web application provider, where number of people from different country, different zones, they are accessing this Google website. So definitely not one virtual machine, not even 10, not even 100, thousands of virtual machines will be required to handle the traffic. We cannot create thousand of definitely virtual machine right now, but we are having 12, 1 to 12, and all these machines, let's say they are having same application running, imagine google.com. Okay, but what we have done, we have changed that mechanism, not to understand google.com. We change all the content this to hello we are HCL. Okay, so if I just show you by accessing, if all of us have done it correctly, this is my IP address, and for myself it is we are HCL. If I'll show you, let's say by Ashok also, for example, Ashok might have changed the same to, okay, I think Ashok, you didn't change that. Okay, so the thing you have to do is only go to the same, and whatever you did, that's fine. But if you do this, that's it. Hello, we are SCL in the HTML folder, index.html. So it will be changed. And if I select for others also, like Vamsi, I believe Vamsi has done it. So for Ashok, I can just remove, and for Vamsi, yes, we are in HCL, same. And similarly for maybe Gopal, if you're doing, you're not there. Deepak, we this, we Sai, Divya, I think Divya, you have done it. So if I just take Divya's application page, we are SCL. Yes. That means all three bigger examples are pointing to a common application service called this one. Now let's say if these are some users who want to access Google, or let's say SCL application, then right now I am giving them a different IP address so they can randomly hit in anyone. But the problem is if I distribute IP address randomly, what if that virtual machine is down or got hanged or got messed up? So whosoever using that virtual machine IP, they won't be able to access that application. And definitely we cannot go one by one and do the same. So what we can do to solve this one, every big company is putting one big network device here, and that network device is known as load balancer. So what is happening? And load balancer will be having its own IP address. So all the users will be hitting to this load balancer IP, and this load balancer will be forwarding requests randomly to these 12 or hundreds of virtual machines who are hosting the same application. Okay, for hosting the same application, and that's the beauty of load balancer. So in real world, like Netflix, Google, Facebook, they have number of virtual machines where they're running common website, but just for a network traffic balancing purpose, so that this machine can take care of all the systems, and we hit it like that. So this is the concept of concept and need of load balancer so that you can share a single IP address to everybody. Also, from a security point of view, you never have to share these IP address to end user. They will think the application is running in the load balancer, but it's not. It will forward the request in a balanced way here, because the job of load balancer also to balance the traffic among multiple systems. So hopefully, if somewhere you are aligned with the previous section and you have understood Apache HTTPD server as an application server, so here importance of load balancer in web app services. Okay, I'm just keeping lb.png here. And if this is perfectly fine to you all, I mean, you are understanding it without any problem, then I would like to show this example very quickly. But a visual confirmation is required that, okay, you guys got the understanding and the need of load balancer so that all the users will use same IP address. And also we are hiding those VMs so that they never have to do a direct connection with them. And also we don't have to worry about the load balancer will balance the traffic and load among all those virtual machine which is running there. Okay, so a yes message or okay or Y is fine if you understand that one, and then we will be implementing it. Okay, see, I can show you some real world cases with load balancer. We are going to take infra. So load balancer with web server. Images here, and you can check this. See, these are all the end users like you and me guys. We're sending a traffic to internet. So the internet will be forwarding traffic to the software or hardware-based load balancer, and this load balancer will be forwarding that connection to the application server. Similarly, this is also a very good example where users will be hitting application request to the internet to the LB, and the load balancer will be forwarding to the application server, let's say www, all three. The database we haven't talked about yet, so let's forget the last part, but you got this idea like that. Also, this is one more example. We can send traffic from mobile, from browser, from PC. The traffic will be going to the load balancer. Load balancer will forward traffic to all the virtual machines, and you see here they are all web servers. So the HTTPD is one of the best example of web servers which we are having. Okay, hopefully by seeing this example you may get more clarity, and that's model we want to design it. So now you can understand these are the machines which we already have. Now we need to give some common website here, then we'll understand, okay, this is done. Okay, now let's go back to our system. Okay, and let me just, so let's go back to this system, and now I think I logged out, so I am going to access this Ashu application. If you are already logged in, just don't worry, and here we go. Okay, now you all make sure you are logged in with the root user. If not, then you can switch with the sudo -i to be on the root user, and you go to /var www.html, and you can see there is a page. You can delete that one because I'm going to give you one sample page. Okay, so delete the existing page by going there using rm. Remove that page. Okay, removed it. So the existing page which we were having, you can remove that. Okay, guys. Hopefully, yes. Now, after removal, you can do one thing. You can install a website cloning software called Git. So do one thing. Install this software, yum install git-y. The use of Git is to clone the website from some public internet Git repository places. So just do yum install git-y, yum install git-y means accept the traffic, accept the license and everything. Okay. Now what I'm going to give you some sample HTML project, and which is, so do one thing, just go to some temporary location and do git clone. These two things you can do it, and you see there we have this. What you guys have to do, you have to go to some temporary location, it says /temp, and then after going there you clone that website which is now visible here. So cloning some sample website. Okay, so once you all done with this step, you can always let me know with done message, because maybe it may take time for some people to go to /temp and do git clone. So what we are trying to do, basically we're trying to clone a sample website from internet.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job. Now let's continue with the session.
Okay, so done message, all the people, right? Okay, now if you have done the same, then what you need to do, copy cp. Now on the same page under temp, here I have this one. So what next thing you have to do, copy every data HTML sample star to where www HTML. So everything we have here, we are copying everything to where www HTML, because that is the location of HTTPD web server, and I'm pasting it. Okay, so just pasted the command. You can as it is copy and paste, and after that you can do systemctl restart HTTPD. These two steps you can perform it. Okay, so hopefully you might have done the same, and if it is so, then refresh your application IP address again, paste, and yes, this time we got the new website, which is this one. Okay, so let me know for how many of you guys you're getting the new website after loading that /temp thing. You just did this and you restarted it, and now we are getting this one. Okay, now as of now we guys are accessing this application by using individual IP addresses, isn't it, right? I am using my IP address, you guys are using yours and all, but we really don't want that, because we want to introduce a concept of load balancer here. So now I'm going back to my console and going back in my load balancer section. So in the EC2 section, in the very last, if you see, it is a load balancing section. And here I'm going to create a load balancer. Application load balancer, network and gateway. Because we have hosted applications, so we'll create first one and create. Okay,
The name of load balancer is, let's say, HCL-LB, HCL_LB. Internet facing, it is responsible for all the Amazon availability zone. Then I'm giving a firewall rule of Ashutosh firewall rule. Also, I am creating a rule. That rule is responsible for all my Amazon virtual machine. I'm giving name, let's say, day one VMs, a running website on Intellipaat, and this one, my load balancer will forward traffic on Ashu, the next VM. Also will forward on WAMC application server because the response, WAMC given response, then Molly given response, and Gopal given response. These many people has given response. So I'm going to drop a traffic on these machines on Intellipaat. See, Gopal, Molly, Divya, me, and creating a group for that. So my load balancer will forward here. Okay. Now, in my this one, I will select day one VMs and I'll create it. The name of load balancer cannot be underscore like this one. So create it. Great. The load balancer generally take 3 to 5 minutes of time, and then we'll get one single name, the big name, and using that name we will be able to access application. Because initially it is really not able to access because generally load balancer will take time to come in ready state and check the system. Okay, everything is perfectly fine. Once it is done, then it will be giving you that one. Okay. So we need to wait for 3 to 5 minutes. Until this is not coming in active state. Okay, now active. So I'll try this one. Yes, it's now accessible. So I'm giving this one this name. So everybody, the link I shared, if you try to access it by that, you'll get the same application name right there. Okay. Accessible or not? I mean, if you try to hit that URL. Yes. Okay, wonderful. So finally, we are able to access this application using a kind of load balancer. See, here I am not using my IP address. Here I'm using my load balancer name, and it is sending traffic in one by one virtual machines automatically. Okay. So if you see there in our portal, I created this my LB, and this LB is forwarding traffic to all these targets, including this, and this. That's why this VM is not in healthy state. And if you see Maula, the application, mine, Divya, and Vamsi, our application is healthy. And my load balancer is now forwarding to these 4 virtual machines. This is how the load balancer works. So like you can see here, the load balancer is also done. Okay. So because this is a very, very much costly service in Amazon, so I'm going to just delete it. I wanted to show you, showed that, but that is perfectly fine. Okay. So now the next point is, as of now, we try to understand that we have any application server like Apache HTTPD. So this application server can host any application using HTTP request, and whatever virtual machine you will be having, that virtual machine will be having some IP address, and this IP address will be writing here. If this is an Apache web server, it is going to read the application by default from where www HTML location. Okay, where www HTML location. Now this location is very much predefined from Apache Foundation. If we have a single virtual machine, that's fine. But if we have bigger applications and a single virtual machine is not able to handle traffic, so we'll keep cloning the virtual machines one by one so that we get more traffic and we can able to handle it. Now, definitely, I don't want people to hit the traffic directly on here. So I will put an external load balancer here. Balancer will be a public facing solution for people who think, okay, your website is running here, but the reality is this load balancer will be forwarding traffic to all the virtual machines by checking are they healthy or not. Like in our case, Gopal virtual machine is not healthy, so it is dropping that one. It is only taking these two. So the concept of load balancer, I'm not saying you should learn initially how to create load balancer, but I hope conceptually, practically, I showed you, but you must be getting it. Okay. Now the entire beauty is all these resources like network load balancer, connectivity between virtual machine is running in cloud, which is preferably AWS cloud we are using. So we have, all right. So we just rented out things from Amazon cloud. So Amazon is going to charge only for those things which is required and used by us. It's not like it is going to charge for all things. It is going to charge whatever we use. Now you see this PDF how it is useful to you. Not this one, that one. Okay. So we go to this. Now you try to understand the cloud computing. So cloud computing is a delivery of hosting service. Delivery of hosting means whatever we demand for, they will be provisioning it on behalf of us. Okay. And the provider giving this access to the client over internet. Of course, cloud is not having very small scale. They're having large scale services. Like you can see, we requested for 20 virtual machines or 12 virtual machines. They've given it up to us. Okay. And the most important point is there is no upfront investment. So we don't have to pay first. The model is use and then pay it later. Okay. So that means once you use, then your bill will be generated and then will be getting charged. Okay. Now computing utilities as pay-per-use business model is getting implemented. Whatever we will be using, for that purpose we have to pay. The most important part is an elastic cloud and an ideal cloud computing platform is efficient in its use of resources. That means whenever we use, accordingly the things will be planned. So if we need 1 GB RAM, 1 core CPU, according to that efficiency they will be getting charged to. Scalable. Okay. The point says scalable. So let's say as of now, initially we need 5 virtual machine. After some time we need 20 virtual machine. So this is a scalability. Or maybe the 5 virtual machine was having 1 GB RAM, 1 core CPU. Now we want to increase RAM from 1 GB to 3 GB and 1 core CPU to 2 core CPU. This is also scalability. So they are having really amazing model of scalability. So you can anytime increase the resources if you have the right model. Elasticity means you can scale virtual machines in a positive or negative direction. For example, if you are hosting google.com like website, you need more virtual machine because you are getting a lot of traffic, so you created till 20. But after 2 hours, you are really not getting that much traffic, so you want to delete them back. So this feature is inbuilt in cloud computing model. That's why we are calling it elastic. Self-managing means the cloud provider will be managing these services by themselves. Okay, highly available and accessible. Yes, it doesn't matter your internet is down or something wrong happened with their internet, they have the high availability model implemented. Okay, so these are some very much amazing features. Now coming back to this model, let's say after this, these are number of primary cloud deployment models. We have a public cloud, private, hybrid, and community. The one you have to understand initially as a beginner, only 2 cloud models. Public means anybody can create account and set up payment method and they start using, and that's where Amazon, Azure, and Google comes in picture. Private may be some big customers like banking customers, right? Like a security system where they want to create their cloud, but they don't want to give access to anybody. Nobody can create account and access it like we do in Amazon cases, right? So you see here, public cloud is like Amazon, Azure, Google, and Rackspace, and private cloud is like OpenStack, OpenNebula, and Eucalyptus systems, right? So these are your private cloud, if you can deliver. Now, this is the most important part. Sometimes you really have to understand. Okay, what resources you are demanding from cloud? On behalf of that, the cloud has delivery model. The cloud has delivery model. Like we being a user as of now, I requested from AWS cloud that, okay, give me a virtual machine. That virtual machine is having OS, is having network connectivity, is having RAM, CPU. These 4-5 things. Apart from this, I don't need anything. Once the VM is ready, I connected to that VM using SSH protocol. And then we have done our work, like we have installed some software, we set it Apache server, we set up some website. That part is our job. But what cloud given us is virtual machine with the OS, network, RAM, and CPU. So this kind of service where the cloud is just giving you the infrastructure is known as IaaS service. So we have just learned and used IaaS service where we are getting server, storage, network, and little more operating system information. Apart from this, everything you have to do, every installation, security, patching up, and all. So definitely when you are just taking infrastructure, rest you are managing by your own, so the cost will be low. Okay, now for example, after taking infrastructure, like after taking virtual machine, you want to set up a Java or Python or maybe .NET platform for your all other users inside your organization. Means you are having virtual machine also, and you're having all the platforms set up. If setting up Java, .NET, maybe Apache server and all these things done by cloud itself, they will put into this category. So they are doing work in this layer and in this layer, meaning they are installing virtual machine, they are connecting it by SSH, they are installing Apache, maybe .NET, languages, and many other things, and then you are directly using it. So maybe if you're not familiar with the setup of Apache server or Java.NET, let the cloud handle that part, and this time this service known as platform service, or cloud is offering a platform to definitely use that services. Okay, so as of now we have just used IaaS, and you can say EC2 is the big example of IaaS cloud model, because we are just giving requesting for virtual machine, RAM, CPU, network, that's it. The rest, after connecting, we have to install Apache server, maybe languages like that. So it's pure IaaS model. But if the client is handling to you, then PaaS model. Now the final is software as a service SaaS. Let's say you can understand the example of Google Docs. So what we can do in Google Docs, we can use Google Office, Google Presentation, PowerPoint storage on the browser. So Google is planning virtual machine, Google is installing MS Office, PowerPoint, everything. Also Google is giving you as a software. It's like without installing it, you can use it directly, which is a SaaS. That means software as a service. So you don't have to install those softwares in your laptop at all. That's why it is a software as a service, right? Take your time and please let me know that yes, you are getting all these three categories where cloud delivery models. Okay, all right guys, so are we very much on the same page that yes, you guys are understanding the cloud delivery model, which is PaaS, SaaS, and IaaS. Okay, this is all with respect to cloud.
All right. So can I get a yes message from everybody? Make sure you are in Ohio region, and you can switch regions from here, and you must be on this region only. No other regions are recommended as of now. Okay. All right. Now, today we have to understand few more concepts and few more problem statements accordingly, so that we will be getting some more big picture ideas. Okay, so now what I'm going to do in this virtual machine where I'm having this instance, right, I'm going to increase the resource. So see, first of all, my T2 micro is the resource of my virtual machine, which you know T2 micro means, if you see here, just to understand, T2 micro means 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM. But what if I want to change my virtual machine size from T2 micro to, let's say, T2 large, okay, to a CPU and 8 GB RAM, which is T2 large. Okay, if I want good bandwidth also, I can have T3 large also, which is 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM, and 5 gigabit speed also. So T3 large. So to change any virtual machine resource type, the running one, okay, let me just go for instance state is equals to running. And now, first of all, I'm going to make it shut down. So I am stopping that instance. Okay. So this thing you don't have to repeat because I will be giving you as an assignment a few more things. So here, now we are starting from today. Changing resource type or resource of VM. So we need to stop. Okay. So I just click on stopped and it got stopped. Right. So terminated and stop. I will select this virtual machine and then there's a action section. In action section, I will click on this. Now there is an instance settings section, which will be here to change the instance type. Now I will click on change. I will select for, let's say, T2 large. Okay, I don't know when T3 large. Okay, T3 large. Now apply. Once I applied, I will select this again, T3 large now, and now I will start it. Okay. So I will start that instance, which is perfectly running fine. Again, going to filter this information, instance state, running is equals to running, and I'll get only, okay. So now what I will do, see what happened when I stopped the instance and did that one. So the IP address last time I used was 18 and in the last 96. And once I see here, this time IP is 18, but in the last it's 190, which means stopping the instance is changing the public IP address because Amazon is not giving you a fixed public IP address by default. So what I want from now onwards till last day, for number of assignments purpose, we will be using this virtual machine. So what I'll do, when we'll be using this virtual machine, I want to fix this IP address. And if you see the course outline, all right, there is a concept called elastic IP. Now, the meaning of elastic IP is to understand what is the thing we need to do with elastic IP. Means we want a fixed IP address. So here in the network section, I have elastic IP. I'll go there, and after going, I will allocate one elastic IP address, and after allocation, I will attach this IP address, associate this IP address with the virtual machine running mine1 VM and their public IP, and I will associate this. So now 3 dot something IP address, you see there, this is the public VM. Now 3 dot something, this IP address will be fixed for all the day. Even I stop, I restart, I terminate, everything will do, it will be persistent. So the concept in Amazon is EIP, which is elastic IP address, right? So elastic IP, which is a kind of static public IP address. Static public IP, right? So now what I'll do, I will log into this instance one more time using the same details. Okay. And now I am going to create user accounts for all of you. So for IN, let's say first my name. Let me take it from the chat section. Then I'll be clicking for Ashok, then Deepak, Divya, and Gopal, Hema. Fine. So these are all the list, and I hope nobody is left here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'll create this user and password will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hashtag, then pass wd$i standard input, and then done. Okay. All right. Now what I'll also do, I will allow you all the guys. Now how you gonna connect? So in Windows, I think everybody is having Windows, right? So there are two category people who are having Windows 10 or who are having Windows 7. Windows 10 people, what you can do, you can open your PowerShell by searching in the Windows search. Windows 7 people can open Git Bash. I think only one guy is here. And the connecting method for both is same, which is SSH space your username @ IP address. So once you open your PowerShell or Git Bash, connecting to the instance is same. So note down this IP address, username, and password, which is common for all people. Okay. So your IP address is
Just a quick info guys, if you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job. Now let's continue with the session.
this one for all the day. Note this down on notepad somewhere. And your usernames list is this. So choose your username accordingly. And password is commonly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hashtag for you. Do not ask for any details like username, password, and other details to me, right? Because this is going to be fixed. Now, see, if you're using PowerShell or Windows Git Bash in 7, you have to use SSH. Let's say my username is Ashu @ and this is the IP address. Enter. It may ask for a bigger message, yes, for you guys. So type yes and then type password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hashtag. Whenever you type password, it won't be visible to you, but don't worry, you will be logged in. Okay, so no, do not wait for the password visibility. And here we go. Okay, so let's connect this one to be on the same page. All right. And now, once you got connected, keep me posted with done message or Y message on the chat room that you guys are connected. Again, I'm saying doesn't matter you're using Windows 10 or 7, use PowerShell or Git Bash, and the command is same. So now the first thing to test that, okay, your website is also running fine. So what you can do here, you guys can see by doing systemctl status httpd, which is running fine or not. So it's not active as of now. It's in inactive state. So httpd status, which we have done it yesterday, you can cross check it. Okay, are we able to do that? This is a thing which need to be, work on these options. All right. So hopefully for everybody, you are getting the same thing. Now, if you try to start this, I hope you will get this error that failed to start. Okay, HTTPD is failed to start. So I hope you must be getting the same outcome. Yes, okay, that is great. Others also, good one. Why it is not there? Because see, to perform such process like starting and stopping some high level services, what you need to have in any operating system to perform these options, you have two kind of access: normal user or administrator user. So in Linux, we are having normal user access. To get the admin level access, we need to have a root account access of it. So like we are not having root access as of now. So what I can do, if I just try to access this one, and from here I'm switching back to root, and with the root user, if I do systemctl start httpd, it is now started. And now by using your account, if you do status one more time, you can see, okay, it is running. If you check the status again, so technically you are not having root access, root account access. That's why you cannot start these kind of services. Okay, so check that one, and then you must be able to see that we all are able to see, okay, service is in start state. Fine, we are going to figure out some new problem statements, and then accordingly we will understand things in a different space. Okay, so not now what I'll do here, we are going to understand the new problem statement. See, sometimes what is happening, your screen got stuck, so you can write a command top and hit enter. So when you are understanding the concept, let's use top command to keep your screen live, otherwise it may disconnect. So if you do top, it will be keep accessing the resources so that your screen won't be stuck at all whenever I do. So I will do like top. Okay.
So, coming to the first question on the stop cloud computing interview questions and answer set, we have a question that states compare between cloud and on premise computing. Well, whenever we go on to compare cloud and on-premise computing, you really have to talk about five very important points. And the first thing is, of course, it's always going to be initial cost, because so whenever you're talking about a cloud computing environment, your initial cost to set up the hardware is extremely low compared to having an on-premise setup. And then coming to maintenance, maintenance is mostly hassle free in a cloud computing environment because you really do not have to have experts standing by working with the hardware, associated software, network, and all of that. But in the case of on-premise software, you do require good amount of expertise there. And when you're thinking about scalability and upgradability, right? Cloud computing, the middle name of cloud computing should be scalability and upgradability in my name, because it's automatic, it's excellent, it does a very good job of, if you want to go from, if you want to scale from, let's say, 1 GB storage to 10 terabytes in matter of, I don't know, half an hour, it is really possible that quick today. And it's not only that, right? So when you're talking about upgradability, you want to use the computing power of one machine versus 10, 12, 30 at a moment's notice. Yes, it's possible. And then when you think about, one of the biggest advantages of cloud computing is the pay as you go policy, because at the end of the day, you'll only be putting down money for the things that that cost you money, basically, at the end of the day. So what I mean by that is, if you're using certain computing resources, you'll only be charged for that rather than the the entire thing, for example. So in that particular case, depending on how much storage you use, how much computing power you use, for what amount of time has your cloud computing environment been running, it's been up, the instance has been created and it's being used, based on all of that, you will have to pay as per you go. Now, coming to the second question, it states, what is a cloud? Well, this is a very generic question, so make sure you do not get carried away by the simplicity of the question. Make sure to keep the answer concise. See, a cloud is nothing but a collection of networks, collection of hardware, services, storage, and an interface that brings it all together to make sure that you can provide all of these, right? Hardware, computing power, and storage as a service to the people out there who have access to an internet connections. So who uses cloud? Well, we have end users who make use of cloud. For example, we ourselves will be using a lot of cloud, right? Think about it. Backing up your photos to the Apple iCloud or Google Photos itself is using a cloud service. And then you have business management users and of course the cloud providers themselves, right? So the service providers themselves are the ones who are providing the service. There are a lot of big names when it comes to cloud computing, and you can either use it for personal usages or business applications too. Coming to question number 3, it can be a follow up to the previous question, but here we're asking what is cloud computing? See, when you're talking about cloud computing, you have to understand that it's not only just cloud storage, it's a lot more than that. It's literally having supercomputers at the tip of your fingers and using all of its computing power, all of its resources, all of its storage as well. So you can do everything with today's cloud computing out there. You can run government organizations, military networks, you can handle everything that's present in space as well with the use of cloud computing networks. Yes, NASA does use a lot of cloud computing. It's a very important innovation in the modern world where technology is provided as a service, and based on the users requirements, technology can be implemented in a way to cater to very specific requirements without having to put down a lot of money or a lot of time too. This is cloud computing in a whole. Now, coming to question number 4, it says, what are the benefits of cloud computing? Well, again, this is another question which is very, which makes it very easy for you to get carried away with the answer. But I definitely recommend, at least taking your time to answer it in a concise way with at least 4 or 5 points to talk about the benefits of cloud computing. I am sure you can probably state 10 or 15 points. It's really good. If you're not explaining the points, do talk about the points and list them. But if you want to explain about each different point, make sure you're keeping the answer concise. For example, you can have automated data backups, automated storage of data. You can have very powerful server capabilities, very good amount of productivity. There's not much upfront cost for the hardware. You can save a lot of money. You can save a lot of time. You can access it remotely from any part of the world, depending on how good your internet connection is and all of that. So you can go on and on and on. So make sure you're sticking to at least 5 very good foundational points such as this, and then build your way from there. Coming to the 5th question, it says mention the layers of the PaaS or the PaaS architecture. See, whenever we're talking about PaaS, you have to know that it's platform as a service, right? So you get a lot of details in PaaS, SaaS, and of course, the other kinds of architectures that are present in cloud computing as well. But one thing is that whenever you're asked a specific question, such as we want the layers of PaaS architecture, make sure to know that exactly as how I've shown here. See, there's 3 main layers. One is the cloud controller layer. Of course, we have the storage services layer, and we have the application storage layer. Now, when you're talking about the platform as a service architecture here, what we do with the cloud controller is we make sure that you have virtual machines that get created. You have controllers for those virtual machines. You can deploy the applications. You can connect to services, scale up, scale down based on your requirement, and match the requirements. So all the things that control the actual environment through which you're gonna run your machines on, that's cloud controller. And then we have the storage services. Of course, we have to have a place where we can manage data, ingest data, process it, and store it, right? For that particular case, you can make use of objects. You can make use of NoSQL, the relational databases, block storage. There's a lot of different kinds of storage services that are provided. And then of course, when you're thinking about the applications that get stored in these, right? So you can have applications which are simple to scale. They can be easy to recover from if there was any sort of failure. Chances of failure in today's world of cloud computing is very lean, but even if there is a chance of failure, you can recover your data very easily in a PaaS architecture through this particular storage services as well. I mean, of course, you can go on to explain more and more in case if the interviewer does expect, but this is a good framework to approach this question and answer it effectively. Coming to question number 6, it says, what are the cloud service models that are out there today? Well, you can be asked a question in a very different way, saying, can you explain the various services that the cloud offers today as well? It's the same question. Now, coming to the answer of this, there are three main types of, the cloud service models that we have today. One, we have PaaS, which is platform as a service. We have SaaS, software as a service. And of course, we have IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service. If you are in this video at this point of time, I'm sure you have heard of all of these and you know the differences that exist between them. If you do not, I would definitely suggest you check out the cloud computing video that we have. In fact, we have multiple videos on cloud computing here on the Intellipaat YouTube channel. So make sure to brush up on all of the concepts, because this forms to be a very basic foundational concept that you really have to know in case if you're planning to have a serious career in cloud computing. So coming to question number 7, it states, what are the components of Windows Azure? Well, the Windows Azure platform services offer a lot of things, but there are three most important components, under which, of course, you have a lot of other components, so sub-components too. We have the cloud computing environment, we have SQL Azure, we have the application fabric, which will, allow for a fabric cloud to be used. And then you can have a lot of sub-components as well. See, in the cloud, you can have a lot of subcategories of how the cloud is used, and what the cloud provides, what makes it native, what makes it special, and all of that too. And of course, when you're talking about SQL, that's an ocean of its own, right? But once you're asked for the components, do put it out in a clear way, such as this. And of course, if you are asked to explain, there might be a follow-up question saying, okay, can you talk about Microsoft Azure Cloud? In that particular case, of course, with the follow-up question, you can go on to answer that too. Coming to question number 8, it says, what are the differences occurred in distributed operations? Well, whenever we're talking about distributed operations, FC and Nova come into the picture, right? So in FC, we have the operations that take place as a master slave architecture. But then when we're talking about Nova, the main difference here lies in how processes are executed parallelly and how its data gets shared across the network or the channel whenever it is required to. So whenever you're thinking about distributed operations, make sure you talk about how master slave operations work, and of course how the data gets stored, how processes can run, either if it's based on events or if it's based on triggers or if it's based on a requirement for scaling, and a lot of that too. Coming to question number 9, it says, which agent is equivalent of Nova Compute? Well, Nova Compute has a very good equivalent, and in fact, I would say that the equivalent of Nova Compute is Azure Agent to one point of time, because it's considered to be on par with Nova Compute. But in my honest opinion, I think Azure Agent has a lot of lot under its belt that makes it that gives it the particular edge to move it one step ahead of Nova Compute. So what do you guys think? Have you used Nova Compute? Have you used the Azure Agent? If you do have, head to the comment section and do let us know. And then coming to the 10th question, it says, mention the reliability and availability of cloud computing. Well. Again, this is a very important question. There's a very good chance that you'll be asked this particular question, right? So to attack it really well, do talk about how fault handling is done in in the world of cloud computing, right? So when we talk about how two virtual machines are used in a single fault domain, if there is one particular hardware that fails, it means that both of your virtual machines can fail. But what a cloud computing platform like Microsoft Azure does in this particular case is it has the capability to automatically distribute instances of a role, across a lot of fault domains too. But when we go on to talk about how we can use the upgrade domains to make sure our data is available and of course it's reliable, right? In that particular case, whenever think of the scenario where a new software version gets rolled out, right? Version control is something that's very important, and every time that this gets done, we make sure that any sort of service that is attached to it, or any sort of data storage that is using this particular instance of it, that it is completely available for usage. And it is making sure that even though there might be multiple instances that get created and operated based upon that, well, in that particular case too, of course, it will be readily available to scale. The availability of programming power and the availability of how data can be scaled in a reliable way is the talk of the day whenever we talk about how we can go on to use upgrade domains. But when we're talking about a cloud computing platform and availability and the reliability in terms of security, one very important thing in my opinion is to talk about network and the storage availability, right? Because you can have your data to be copied in multiple storage areas in multiple different domains across servers in multiple different continents too. So why do we do this? We do this for one, required redundancy, where if there is a data failure, we can pull all the data back to make sure that we have sufficient backups. And the other reason is that if one of these servers, in case if you have accumulated all your data there, is under a DOS or a denial of service attack, in that particular case, you might not be able to access the content present in that server, and it might not be able to function effectively, right? In that particular case, your client, your business, or whatever it is that you're running on the cloud might come to a halt because the server is not able to provide services for you. To avoid all of that, we do have this kind of redundancy that's built in to today's cloud computing platforms. And then coming to the 11th question, it states, give the best example for open source cloud computing. Well, if open source cloud computing has to be spoken about, I think OpenStack always takes the center stage because it's a very, very good example of what an open source platform should be. It's extremely popular among the startups of today, mid-tier companies. It does provide a lot of functionality because, at the end of the day, you might be thinking, do you really have to put in a lot of money into Amazon Web Services, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform? And, if you are a small company or if you're starting up, you might not have the budget to allocate that much too. In that particular case, do think about OpenStack, because OpenStack is one of these platforms that will help you rapidly scale up, at least at the start. And it has, of course, thousands and thousands of developers across the globe pitching in to make OpenStack better than what it is every single day. That particular case, I do believe that OpenStack is in fact one of the best examples of open source cloud platforming we have today. Coming to question number 12, it says, what is AMI? How do we implement it? So AMI is basically short for Amazon Machine Engine. What it means is that it is a copy of your root file system itself. It feeds all the information that is required to launch any sort of instance on the AWS platform. So you implement this kind of a machine image whenever you actually want to go, launch a particular instance. Of course, you can have multiple instances that can be launched from one single machine image with the same configuration as well. Of course, if the configurations now become different, then you'll have to launch multiple instances and you'll have to launch multiple AMIs as well. But if you have a same configuration that you want to scale across multiple instances, do remember this important point that you can use the same Amazon machine image too. So the image on the screen, I hope, is pretty self-explanatory at this point of time. You're going to create an EBS snapshot. It's going to get registered with the AMI, which is the Amazon machine image. And once you launch an instance, you can directly start using the instance. And of course, if you want to copy it to another instance, that can be done directly if there is a similar configuration in the machine in the second instance that you want to launch too. So how can you implement it, right? So coming to the answer of the second part of this, AMI will include one or more of the snapshots of your EBS volumes. Let's say, in the case of backed AMIs, you will have the instance that will get stored. And of course, you will have a lot of other things as well. Think about the template for the root volume, because you'll have to copy it, right? So what are the contents of the template of a root volume? You'll have the application server, you'll have all the applications that bring with it. And what is the most important thing that you require? Of course, an operating system, right? So all of these will be contained in the EBS volumes. So we can go on to basically say that it launches the permission that we decide, based on what AWS account can use what AMI for what instances. That's a mapping that goes on depending on your account too. Now, one very important thing you have to talk about is that it will also require a block device mapping, because at the end of the day, you'll have to specify what volumes have to be attached to what instances whenever they're launched, right? Be it a copy of the same AMI or be it a completely different AMI, you have to specify the volumes that you want to use, and of course, either you want it to be copied or you want it to start fresh and all of that too. Now, with this, we can move on to question number 13 that states, why are hybrid clouds so important? There are many types of cloud computing today, and guys, you really have to know the different types of cloud computing environments that we have today. And then when you talk about hybrid cloud environments, right, you do have to talk about how they are so effective at what they do. See, there's something called as cloud bursting where you can access all the capacity and the specialized software that are available, let's say, in a public cloud and not in a private cloud, right? So whenever you're thinking about examples, think about Dynamo, think about Amazon, think about virtual Amazon and others too. So why do we do this? We can leverage the best of both worlds, right? Now, when you're thinking about vCloud, vCloud is basically a VMware cloud. It's of course a little expensive to use, but it will give you enterprise level quality. And then when the talk is about OpenStack makes sure that you have a commodity for servers and storage. Of course, it's a little less reliable, but then you can run all the web servers on OpenStack. The database can be built on the vCloud, so you can sort of have this kind of a collaboration between two or three cloud services and make a hybrid cloud based on your requirement of having it to be either in a private space or in a public space too. So for these reasons, for the effectiveness to bring about both kinds of requirements to use specialized software, maybe in an open source kind of a cloud environment, you do require hybrid clouds. And then with that, we can come to the 14th question that says list the platforms that are used for large scale cloud computing. Now, there's two main platforms that whenever we talk about extremely large scale cloud computing or even generic large scale computing is Apache Hadoop and the concept of MapReduce. These form to be very vital concepts of big data, and big data actually helps a lot in the field of cloud computing because you do have to think about how you can manage all the data effectively, right? So even though there are extremely big names like AWS, Azure, and all of these, even these guys will make sure that your data is stored in an effective way, in an efficient way. To think about all of these, well, you have amazing tools such as Hadoop, and of course you have MapReduce that will help you with storing large scale data, and working with that data without you having to put much effort into it. Now, with this, we can come to the 15th question that states mention the different types of model that are used for deployment in cloud computing. Well, there are a lot of deployment models that you have to talk about. As I told you, you have to know all of these guys. You have the private cloud, you have public cloud, you have community cloud, and as we checked out, you have the hybrid cloud. And then, of course, adding an example of how you would use a private cloud, what is a public cloud, why would you require a community cloud, and talking about hybrid cloud is definitely going to add a lot of value to your candidature. So, depending on the interview, read the room, read the interviewer. If he or she is expecting more in detail, then do answer that. If they're expecting a concise answer, then at that point of time you can maybe expect a follow-up questions based on that, right? So you state private, public, community, and hybrid. The interviewer might ask you a little bit more about community cloud in the next question. So if that's the case, make sure to read the room and then answer the question in a clear and a concise way. And then coming to the 16th question, it says explain security management in terms of cloud computing. Well, security has to be the prime thing whenever the talk is about cloud computing, right? Because here we consider identity management, which will make sure that, whoever is using the applications, whoever you using the cloud platform has an authorization to actually access it. And then with access control permission, we can check who's controlling what, who's using what kind of a services, what instance is being run by whom, who is in fact entering the cloud computing environment as a client or as a user, or as a person, who could be a cloud architect or the cloud admin too. So you can restrict access based on all of these. You can have multiple layers of protection through, of course, authentication methodologies and authorization principles that will make sure that you will only have access to the people who need to have specific access to maybe data or in fact even applications as well. So based on all of these, you have to understand that today's world of cloud computing is extremely tight knit when it comes to security, and you can be rest assured that it is extremely good. Hacking into and breaking the security methodologies of a top cloud computing platform today is absolutely no joke at all. Considering that, I definitely think you should talk about the advantages of today's cloud computing security platforms out there too. And then coming to the 17th question, it states, what are the layers of cloud computing? Well, there are many layers of cloud computing, but the most important talk will be, of course, all of these layers. You'll have the cloud controller, as we discussed previously. You'll have the Walrus. You will have the cluster controller, or it's called as a CC. You'll have the storage controller, in short for SC, and of course, you have the node controller, which stands for NC. So these form to be some of the most important layers that get used in any sort of cloud architecture out there. There has to be a scaffolding through which everyone kind of uses uses that to scale upon, right? Be it the small brands, be it open source platforms, or be it even the big tier organizations too. These layers will be a common commodity for all of them. Now, coming to question number 18, it says explain the full form and the usage of eucalyptus in cloud computing. Eucalyptus actually has a full form, in case if you guys did not know. It stands for Elastic Utility Computing Architecture for linking your programs to useful systems. Well, that's a mouthful, right? Let me say that again. It's Elastic Utility Computing Architecture for linking your programs to useful systems. What is it now? Well, it's actually an open source software and infrastructure that we use in the field of cloud computing, where we can implement any sort of clustering that we want in a platform online. So it's mostly used in today's world, where you can simplify the entire process of building a private cloud, a public cloud, or even a hybrid cloud too. So it will give you the complete capabilities to make sure that you can have your own data center, and you can use this kind of repurpose the data center into a private cloud. You can have complete functionality over it, and you can do a lot with the software infrastructure, in case if you're willing to use eucalyptus in your native in-house cloud computing platform too. So it's a big name. It's gaining a lot of popularity in today's world again, and it's being used a lot. So there's a very good chance that you will be asked this question. And then coming to question number 19, it states mention the names of some of the large cloud providers and databases. Well, large cloud providers names, I'm sure you guys will already know. You have AWS, which is Amazon Web Services from Amazon. You have GCP or Google Cloud Platform from Google. And of course, you have Microsoft Azure, right? These three are the big names. Of course, you have OpenShift from Red Hat as well. You have multiple different cloud providers out there. So if you do know more than the 3 or 4 that I stated, do talk about that. And then coming to databases, the 3 most popular databases in the cloud computing platform from Google, we have Bigtable. From Amazon, we have the ASD or the Amazon Simple Database, and of course you have the cloud-based SQL. It's also called as the sequential query language too. So in that particular case, you do have these 3 databases followed with the names of the large cloud providers that you can talk about in detail too. And then coming to question number 20, it states explain the difference between cloud and traditional data centers. See, a traditional data center has one major difference, is that it is extremely expensive to run, because you'll have a lot of equipment running, a lot of hardware you have to work. You'll have to spend a huge budget, in fact, on cooling these systems down and keeping it working effectively. You'll have a lot of electricity bills. Well, you'll have to have a lot of inboard security, where you need to have physical security to these servers to make sure that people don't access it directly. And there's going to be a lot of expenditure initially in the case of maintaining, and even in the long term, whenever you're running a data center too, it's definitely going to cost money. But then when we're talking about cloud can be scaled up whenever you have a requirement of scaling up. You really do not have to have a lot of cloud, and then you really do not have to have a lot of physical security. Of course, if you have clients connected to the cloud, you do require a lot of security to that. But at the end of the day, you are not you really shouldn't be extremely concerned about how your data can be misused in a physical way, or let's say you really don't have to worry a lot about cooling these servers down or paying the electricity bills. So of course, you will be billed for your usage, but it is definitely going to be a lot less for rather than having your own data centers, right? So that is very important. Now, keeping that in mind, let's talk about question number 21. Question number 21 states, what are the uses of APIs in cloud services? Well, what are APIs, right? So APIs are short for application programming interfaces. We use this to make sure that we remove the entire dependency where we have to write complete programs at every single point of time. This will be like a bridge. This will act like a bridge where we are enabling communications between one or more applications very easily, without having to rewrite both of them to run as a single instance. And then at the end of the day, you are doing all of these to make sure that it's easy for the cloud services to run on multiple systems, and of course it's accessible for the users who are doing the same too. So to keep it fast, to keep it effective, and to reduce the amount of redundancy that you will have to put in to write different programs, is definitely something that we get to have full control over whenever we're thinking about application programming interfaces, especially in cloud services. Coming to question number 22. Question number 22 states, mention different data center deployments of cloud computing. Well, you will have two primary data centers that you will have to talk about. One is the containerized data centers, and of course the low density data centers. When you're talking about containerized data centers, right, so these are basically packages that we contain, like think about a set of servers. You'll have a lot of network components. You'll have storage delivered to large warehouses where it will be completely sealed off, it will be cooled and all of that, right? So whenever you require a containerized data centers, 99% of the time it will be catered uniquely to your requirement. It's not like a one solution that solves for all the problems. So that is one of the I would say one of the advantages of using a containerized data center too. And then when you're thinking about a low density data center, right, so here, and then when we're talking about low density data centers, right, see, even before that, one thing you have to know about containerized data centers is that they will promote heavy density, which will a lot of servers, a lot of network components, which cause a lot of heat. And it's not only just heat and physical troubles, it's going to be an engineering challenge to keep solving all of these day in and day out, right? So to make sure that you really have good amount of hardware that you have the capability to handle and cater to, you will be using a low density data center. Here, as the name suggests, the equipment is established far apart to make sure that it's pretty cool. It doesn't overheat, it doesn't break down, and of course it's protected from the elements in both of the cases too. And then coming to question number 23. Question number 23 states, list down the three basic functioning clouds in cloud computing. Well, there are three very important functioning clouds that you have to talk about. One's the professional cloud, the second is the personal cloud, and the third one is the performance cloud. Well, guys, let me state this again. If you're at this point of time where you might not know what a professional cloud, a personal cloud, or a performance cloud is, I highly recommend you check out our videos that we have for cloud computing. We do have a lot of videos that go in depth into the functioning clouds as well. So make sure to head to the search bar after this particular video and do check them out in case if you have to brush up on any of these topics. Now, coming to the 24th question, it says, what are the characteristics of cloud architecture that differ from the traditional architecture? Again, your interview can in fact start with this particular question, so make sure that you are prepared to answer this in a very clear way. So what happens in a cloud environment is that the hardware requirement that there is fulfilled as per your demand, right? So if you require a machine that can probably handle 10 clients, yes, that can be done now. If you require a machine that can handle 10,000 clients, yes, that can be provided too. And then when you have a traditional architecture, right, that makes it very difficult to do that. And when you're thinking about cloud architecture, of course, scaling up resources on demand is always there. You can manage workloads. You can have dynamic workloads in a way where you really don't have to worry or break your head about any point of failures. You can save a lot of time, a lot of efficiency. You can work from anywhere across the world. You can have your servers across multiple components. Guys, the characteristics of how a cloud architecture will differ from a traditional architecture, right? So you can save a lot of money in terms of manpower to maintain and handle these servers if you had anything on site too. Now, with that, we can check out the 25th question that states, what are the building blocks of cloud architecture? The three main building blocks or the scaffoldings of cloud architecture, in my opinion, is of course the reference architecture, the technical architecture, and how one can go on to work with the deployment operation architecture. So again, if you are at this point in time, you really have to know all of these concepts, guys. But then if you do not, again, I would urge you to take a look at the in-depth videos we have on the channel for this. And then coming to question number 26, it says, explain AWS. Well, it's very easy to get carried away with this question, but then keep your answer very concise. AWS is a short form that stands for Amazon Web Services. It is probably one of the world's best cloud computing platform that we have today. It's an IaaS, or an infrastructure as a service platform, and it provides a lot of services, right? It's a plethora, it's an ocean of its own whenever we talk about AWS, because 99.99% of what you can do on a traditional native in-house architecture, you can do it on AWS today. That is how convenient, that is how effective it is. All you would require is probably a laptop or a mobile phone that will help you get connected to these kind of services to make full use of that. So the basic requirement to have extreme amounts of computing power at your fingertips is just an internet connection, and AWS is at the top of their game. There's There's thousands of companies across the globe that make use of AWS daily, and even when you're talking about the aspects of how AWS is scaling up, when you compare it to Microsoft Azure and when you compare it to Google Cloud Platform, these guys are always punching above their weight. And you can of course talk about a lot of points when it comes to AWS. And then coming to 27th question, this is a very important question. It asks, explain how can you vertically scale on an Amazon instance. Now, vertical scaling is probably one of the very important features of AWS and using cloud virtualization too. So how can you do this? We go on to spin a new large instance where we can actually pause that particular instance, detach whatever volume that we have for it and discard that out. And then what happens when we stop our live instance and detach its root volume, right? So here basically we have to note down the unique device ID that comes with it, and using this particular ID we can attach the same root volume to the new server and scale it up and start it again. So what we basically did is we took an EBS volume from one server, we paused that particular instance, we detached it, we connected to we made sure to note the unique device ID and then you can go on to directly attach that same root volume to another server in case if it's a bigger requirement, you're scaling up or you're scaling down, and then restart it. That's really as convenient and as simple as it gets when you're using vertical scalability and of course cloud virtualization in Amazon's AWS. Now with that, we can come to question number 28 that says, explain the security usage in the Amazon Web Services model. And one thing you really have to know is that AWS supports security groups. Access can be provided based on the jump box, and you have SSH access, which is open for port number 22. But later, if you want to create a web server group or a database group too, yes, that can be created. You can have multiple ports that can be mapping into that. For example, you can have port number 3306 from the web server group. You can have port 22 from the jump box group, and a lot of other things too. So the addition of any machines to any of these web server groups, right, it can be stored in a database. And whenever this is done, one of the most important things in terms of security is that no one can directly SSH into any of these boxes and directly use them, even though the port might be open. So that is one of the ways on how you can solve for a requirement to make sure that no one SSHs into your particular box and accesses the data too. So in that particular case, AWS is doing a good job in terms of security groups. And then coming to question number 29, it states, what are the reasons that make Amazon so big as they are? You can have questions saying, what are the reasons that make Google big, or what are the reasons that make, Microsoft Azure so big and all of that, right? So based on your usage, based on if you've had experiences with that, you can answer this in a clear way. But, since AWS is the most popular one out there, we're talking about that here. So what happens in AWS is that we have the backup storage systems of EBS volumes. This gets maintained directly. So we can do this by inserting a snapshot facility. You can do it via either an API call, or you can make use of an interface, a beautiful graphical user interface called Elastic Fox 2. You can have the performance of your storage spaces improved by making use of RAID arrays. And of course, you can copy your data across multiple volumes and have your RAID array perform at its best while giving you good protection against failure and of course, good backup redundancy too. So it's not only just two reasons, it's just that it's extremely popular in a way that people are willing to spend billions of dollars, into AWS. And with that comes a lot of development from Amazon themselves to make sure that they're catering to, basically anyone who requires a cloud platform. So be it you're a person who's doing a recreational project, yes, or an entire multinational corporation who wants to scale their complete business into AWS, yes. So depending on how individually can you cater solutions to the problems out there through cloud computing, I think Amazon is doing a really great job of that, and that makes them the biggest cloud provider today. And then coming to the last question, it states, have you earned any sort of certification to improve your learning and implementation process? Again, if you're at this point in time in this particular video, you would already know the value of certification programs, right? So, you will have top of the line teaching, you will become experts in all of the concepts, you will be taught by, you'll be taught by experts across the globe, of course. A good certification program will give you a lot of industry level use cases, a lot of practical hands-on projects, and a lot of other things too. So basically, you can go from a beginner to an expert with a certification program. But what does this signify to the interviewer? See, if you are inclined towards cloud computing, and if you're coming from a very different background, maybe a digital marketing background, or maybe a commerce background, a finance background, whatever it is, even though you might not have a computer science degree at hand, it shows that you have put in certain time, effort, and of course money to become experts into this, knowing that you want to expand your career in this particular field. It shows your dedication, your passion towards cloud computing, and that you're a strong aspirer to get to from where you were to where you are today in terms of expertise in cloud computing, right? So all in all, it'll just tell the interviewer, and it'll give an impression that you are an effective learner, that you're really willing to put in the efforts to become an expert here. So what adds value whenever you're talking about answering this question? One thing is that you might have one certification, you might have cleared a couple of examinations, or you might have multiple certifications too. In that particular case, make sure to list the certifications that you have. But instead of talking about what the certifications covered, I highly recommend you talk about how you used it rather, right? So a certification program is meant to give you a lot of theoretical and practical knowledge. But why is this done? This is done to make sure you can practically start solving problems on your own. So instead of talking about what all you learned, do talk about how it's been helpful to you, how you have used it, and how you plan to put it to effective use in that organization that you're interviewing for now. Answering it this way will make sure that it will add a lot of weight to your candidates, and it's going to leave a good impression on the interviewer too.
Just a quick info guys, if you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job.